Okay, so the topics we'll be covering in MRP is today. What is MRP? We'll see the MRP overview. Okay, what are the input elements and what are the output elements of MRP run? Okay, when we do the MRP run, when we do the MRP run, okay, when we do the MRP run, what happens in the system? Okay, what system will do basically? Technical process of the MRP run. Okay, that we'll understand. Then what is a planning file entry concept? Okay, why it is used. Okay, then we'll see net requirement calculation. What is net requirement calculation, how it is used. Okay, and then we'll see bomb explosion, how the bomb is exploded and how what is the use of bomb explosion. Then finally what is the results of MRP run. Okay, so this we'll understand, and then finally we'll see to run MRP what are the prerequisites to run MRP for a particular plant or a material. What are the settings we are supposed to do in the system? Those things we'll understand. Okay, so coming to MRP, so what is MRP? The main function of the main function of material requirement planning is to guarantee material availability. Its main function is to guarantee material availability. Okay, so it is used to procure or produce the required quantities on time. Okay, on time. One is the quantity, how much quantity and at what time, for both for internal purposes and for sales and distribution. Okay, so in case of raw materials and packing materials, it is for internal purposes. Now for your finished products or something, it is for sales. So that is the main function of MRP. It's basically guarantee material availability. Okay, so MRP determines what material is needed, what quantity of material is needed, and when the material is needed. It will take care of all these things. Okay, it takes care of what material is needed, how much quantity of the material is needed, and when the material is needed. It takes care of these three. Okay, now during MRP, system determines the shortage of material quantities and accordingly it will generate the procurement proposals. That's all. We'll see this in detail. Okay, now in case of in-house production, when you are manufacturing materials products in-house, like your semi-finished products, your finished products, what system does is system will be creating planned orders. Okay, whereas in case of external procurement, if those materials are procured from outside, like they are procured from vendors, what system will do is system either can create planned order or it can create directly purchase requisition for external procurement. Okay, so this is what MRP does. Okay, so this is the basically input and output elements of MRP. If you see here, planned independent requirements, input elements, this we already discussed so many times in the demand management. It is nothing but forecast, demand, planned independent requirements. Okay, this we discussed already in the demand management, how to arrive at the forecast. Okay, that is also input to MRP. Now your customer requirement, this is also we discussed. Okay, customer requirement is nothing but sales orders which comes from sales, real orders. Okay, and then secondary requirement. The secondary requirement means the requirement which comes from header material to the down level material, that is called secondary requirement. Okay, and then your stock. If you have any stock, system will consider that stock also. And then already existing elements, like already existing planned orders, purchase requisitions, all those things in the system. So system will consider all these things, and when you do MRP, when you execute MRP, system will be generating planned order. Okay, and then or if it is externally procured material, it will be generating purchase requisition. Okay, so these are the input elements. System will consider all these input elements, and then when you execute MRP, system will give these output elements. That's what MRP does. Okay, of course, anyhow we'll see all these things in the system. Okay, so this is what I was trying to explain. Okay, you execute MRP, then it will be MRP will be considering sales orders, planned independent requirements, or even dependent requirements, reservations, all these things it will consider, and finally it will be generating the planned order. Okay, so if it is an in-house production material, this planned order is converted to production order and the production will start. If the material is externally procured material, then you can, through MRP directly, you can create purchase requisition, and this purchase requisition is converted to purchase order, and then your purchasing department will procure the materials from the vendors. So this is what happens. Okay, and this part will be normally taken care by the purchasing people. Okay, once the purchase requisition is created, converting to purchase order, then procurement, all those things will be taken care by the purchasing. We are not much bothered about this. We are only bothered about this step, production execution. Okay, so that we will see anyhow when we go to production execution. Okay, so this is the MRP overview. Okay, so now first we'll start with technical process of the MRP run. So when you execute MRP run, what system does? What system will do basically? Okay, so first when you execute MRP, system will check for the planning file entry. Okay, I'll explain you this. Then it will do net requirement calculation. Okay, once the net requirement calculation is done, it will come up with the shortage quantity, procurement quantity it will calculate. Then it will do the scheduling. Here it will calculate the quantity, how much quantity we need to procure. Here it comes up with quantity. Okay, and here it will comes up with the date. In the scheduling, it will calculate the date, on which date it is required. Okay, it will come up with a date. Okay, it will come up with a date. Now here, after that, it will determine the procurement proposal, whether it has to generate planned order or purchase requisition. It will determine, and then it will finally explode the BOM. If that particular material is having BOM, then it will explode the BOM, and again it will be planning all the down level materials. Again this process gets repeated till all levels are reached. This is the technical process of the MRP. So if you start with the header material, first all these steps are carried out one after the other. Okay, once all done, it will explode the BOM, and if that particular material is having BOM components, again for those also this process will get repeated. Like this process keeps on getting repeated till all levels are reached. Then your MRP gets finished. So this is the process flow of MRP run, technical process of when you execute MRP, these activities will happen in the backend. Okay, now we will see one by one how they work. Okay, so first, what is the it will check for the planning file entry. So what is this planning file entry? Okay, so planning file entry basically tells you what materials to be planned in the MRP run. Okay, it gives you what materials to be planned in the MRP run. Okay, let's say I'll give you a simple scenario. You have in your plant, let's say you have a plant. In your plant, let's say plant is A. In your plant, let's say there is 30,000 materials. 30,000 materials. Okay, now today you executed MRP 30/08/2016. So today you executed MRP run. Okay, now your MRP frequency is weekly. So next MRP run, when you will do, you do it on 06/09/2016. Now that day you executed MRP for all the 30,000 materials, let's say. Now within this week, out of this 30,000, let's say 10,000 have got some change, undergone some change. That means new requirement has come, or some stocks are issued to the warehouse people, production people, or some changes happen. And for remaining 20,000 materials, there is no change. At all. So now in the next MRP run, does it make any sense to plan again all the 30,000? Is it make any sense to plan again all these 30,000 materials? It's waste of time. Why? Because this 20,000, there is no change at all. So in the next MRP run, if you plan that 10,000 is more than enough. For which materials there is some change after the 30th. So those materials, if you plan 10,000 materials, that is enough. Now the question is, how system determines this 10,000 materials? How system will come to know for this 10,000 materials there is a change and another 20,000 materials there is no change? How system will come to know? That system will come to know through this planning file entry. So whenever you do MRP, first the system will go and check for planning file entry for each material. Okay, so this we will see now in the practicals in the system. Okay, suppose if you take this 2094 product, finished product, let me go to MD04 screen. Okay, so now here this material is having some planned independent requirement, okay, and some planned order, sales order it is having, some planned order it is having. Okay, what I'll do is I'll remove this planned independent requirement. I'll delete it for the time being. Okay, so I'll run MRP once. MD02. Okay, I execute MRP once. So now you have executed MRP. Now first we'll check the planning file entry situation of this material. Okay, so to check the planning file entry for this particular material, what you need to do is you have to go to a particular transaction. Okay, so go to logistics, go to production, go to MRP, planning, okay, planning file entry, okay, display. The transaction code is MD21. Here you go to planning file entry. So you close here. Okay, so enter your material, enter your plant. Okay, enter your material and enter the plant, and then just click on execute. Okay, now if you see here, for this particular material in this plant, is there any indicators activated? Is there any indicators activated? There are no indicators at all. Okay, now for this particular material, when I make some changes, those indicators will activate it. Okay, so I'll make some changes. Now what I'll do is I'll put some requirement. I'll put some planned independent requirement, forecast. Okay, this already we discussed in the demand management a lot of times, so many times. Just 1 minute. I'm entering some forecast. Okay, so the new requirement has come. So there is some change to this material. So if you go to MD04, there is some change to material. The moment this material undergone some change, what happens is the planning file entries will get activated. See, now if you go here, planning file entry, I'm just refreshing the screen, planning file entry screen. What happened? You see some indicators are here. Okay, so what happens is when you execute MRP, system will come to each and every material and it will check whether these indicators are activated or not. If these indicators are activated, then system will plan only those materials. Okay, so that is how system recognize for which material it has to plan. So it will go here for each and every material in the plant and it will check whether these indicators are there or not. If these indicators are there, it will plan those materials. If these indicators are not there, those materials will not get planned in the MRP run. Okay, now the next question is when these indicators will go right off. So when you execute MRP, these will go. These indicators will get resetted. Okay, so now I execute MRP. I'm just executing it plant level. Okay, I'm executing MRP at plant level. Sorry, material level. So when I execute MRP at material level, okay, MRP done. So now go to stock requirement situation. You will be getting some planned orders. That's okay. Now if you go to the planning file entry, if I refresh, those will go. See, those will now. If I refresh the screen, those will go. So once the MRP is done, those will go. Now again, these indicators will get activated when you make some change to the material. Okay. Suppose what I will do, I'll delete one of the planned order. I'll delete one of the planned order manually, which is created. Okay. I'm deleting the planned order. Now I deleted the planned order. So I made some changes to the material. So now the indicators will get activated again. See, now the indicators have come. So that means whenever some change happens to the material, these indicators will come. So now in the next MRP run, again system will check this for indicators, and if those are activated, it will plan. So here we are giving the information to the system that there has been some change to the material from the previous MRP run. That is how system will determine which materials have to be planned in the MRP run, which materials have to be excluded from the MRP run. That is the with first step it will determine. That is what planning run. Check planning file entry. Okay, so this is the one. Whenever you make some change, this already I explained. Whenever a material undergo a change relevant to MRP, the indicators will get written to the planning file entry. Then during the MRP run, system will read those materials and those will be planned in the MRP run. And when you MRP run, these planning file entry indicators will get reset. Okay, so this is what the planning file entry concept. You should be thorough with the concepts. As a consultant, you should be thorough with the concepts, what system will do in the backend during MRP. So this is the first step. This is the planning file entry is the first step in the MRP. So this is what it does. Basically, here it will determine what materials have to be planned in the MRP. Okay. So now let me go back. Okay. So once the planning file entry is done, the next step will be net requirement calculation. Okay, net requirement calculation. So what is net requirement calculation? So net requirement calculation means it will compare the requirement elements, it will compare all the requirement elements and already existing receipt elements. Okay, receipt elements. If there is any shortage, it will compare, and if there is any shortage, it will determine the procurement proposal. So what are our requirements? This already we discussed. Sales orders. Okay, planned independent requirements, forecast, which just now I entered. Dependent requirements, that the requirement which comes from header material to the down level materials, then reservations and some other requirements. Of course, there is a safety stock also. This will discuss when we go to factors influencing the MRP. So these are the requirements. Now what are your receipt elements? Your receipt elements are nothing but your planned orders, your purchase requisitions. Already if there are any planned orders, purchase requisitions, of course purchase orders, production orders, all those things are your receipt elements, and even of course your stock. Most important is stock. Okay, and then it will compare these two, and if there is any shortage, then it will determine the procurement quantity. This is called net requirement calculation. Okay, I'll show it this in the system. Okay, so let me show this in the system. So when you go to our scenario, let me remove again everything. You will get confused. Okay, so I'll put only I'll save this. I'll refresh once. I'll execute MRP once. Okay, MT02. I'll execute MRP once. Okay, so now you will everything get deleted. Now what I'll do is again I'll enter some planned independent requirements /n MD61. Okay, I'll enter only one. For your sake, I'll enter only one planned independent requirement in the month of November, 500. Okay, so now here if you see here, what is your requirement? What is your requirement here? Your requirement is 500. Your requirement is 500. Okay, now what are the receipt elements you have? Only 50, stock 50. Okay, stock 50. Okay, now what I'll do is I will create a production order manually, just to make you understand. I'll create a production order manually, /M00. Okay, what is the material? Material is 2094. Okay, I will create a production order for 50. This production order creation and all we will see when we go to production execution in detail. Okay, I'm creating the batch. It's okay. Now I'm saving this. Okay, so your order number is saved, production order number. Now if you go to your stock requirement list, so now here you see there is a production order for 50 quantity. Now let's say our situation again. So your requirement is 500, and how much stock you have? Already you have a stock of 50. You have a stock of 50, and your one of the production order you have for another 50 quantity. Okay, so now here system will compare these two. So your requirement is 500, okay, minus what is your already existing receipts, stock is 50, okay, and your production order is for 50. So system will compare this, and if there is any shortage, it will create a procurement proposal. So now your requirement minus receipt elements is how much? 400. Okay, of course here as we are working on strategy 10, planning strategy 10, the sales order is not considered here. Okay, that anyhow, you know, we already discussed in demand management. So now here shortage is 400. That's what system does. Okay, so now when you execute MRP, system will create a planned order for 400. That's what system will do. The shortage is now 400. That is why system will create the what do you say, procurement lot size. It will calculate the quantity. Okay, of course it will calculate the lot size based on the quantity to be procured based on the lot size procedure you enter in the material master. Okay, so in the material master there is a field called lot size. If you go to MM02, if you go to MRP1, view, there is a lot size maintained over here. System will check for this lot size, and accordingly it will calculate the procurement quantity. Once the quantity is determined, shortage quantity, then how much quantity has to generate, it will be decided by this lot size. Of course we will be discussing all these lot sizes, procedures and all when we go to factors influencing the MRP. At that time we'll discuss lot sizes in detail. Okay, only thing is, as of now, just understand that it will consider the lot size after the shortage quantity is determined. Based on that, it will create the procurement quantity. Okay, so now here in our case it is the 400. It is the 400 shortage quantity. So now when I execute MRP, you see what will happen. Okay, now when I am executing MRP /NMD02, execute MRP, I completed the MRP run, executed the MRP run. Now if you go to the, if you refresh, see now the planned order has come. Now what is your planned order? It is 400. The shortage quantity is 400. That is why it has generated a planned order for 400 quantity. Okay, so this is how the MRP is done. Now the next question is, now we know the quantity. Next thing is scheduling. It does the scheduling. That means now when your material has to be ready, Okay, so that also system will show. So now here if you see here, it has to be ready by your, if you go your planned order, if you go to the inside of your planned order, order has to be finished by 2/11/2016. Okay, and then your order has to be started on 27/10/2016. That's what system is showing, because your requirement is LSF is put it on, you entered it on 2/11/2016. Okay, that means you need your material on 2/11/2016. That's why system is showing you, if you go to the planned order, system is telling you you have to start your production on 27/10/2016. Then only your product will be ready by 2/11/2016. That is what system is showing. Okay, now the question is how this date is determined. All those things we'll understand when we go to scheduling in detail. When we go to scheduling, that time we'll understand in detail. Okay, so basically it does the scheduling and it will tell you when to start your production. That's what. Okay, so here it gives you the availability date. It gives you the order finish date based on some timing factors you maintain in the various places in the material master. It will consider that, and it will give you when to start your order started. Order finish date anyhow you will give while entering the requirement. It will give you when to start. Order started, it will give you. That is what scheduling. Okay, we will be discussing the scheduling in detail when we go to the scheduling topic. What is this opening period? What is this goods receipt processing time? What is this in-house production time? That time we will be discussing. As of now, try to understand. It will do the scheduling and it will give you the order start date, when to start it, so that your product is available on time to the to sell to make it available for the customers. That's what it does. Okay, it will give you the order start date. Okay, so it does the scheduling. Okay, so already it does the scheduling. Now the next question is how it will determine whether to generate planned order or purchase requisition. Now here in case 2094 it has generated why planned order. Now why the planned order has been generated? That is a question. So what system does is it will go to the material master and it will check for the procurement type. It will check for the procurement type. It will check for the procurement type maintained in the material master. If it is maintained as in-house production, it will be generating the planned orders. If it is external procurement, it will be generating the purchase requisitions for the vendors. That's what it does. Okay, based on the procurement type you maintain, it will generate in-house. If it is in-house production, which is called E, it will generate planned orders for production. If it is F, that is external procurement, it will be generating purchase requisition. So system will go to the system and it will check. Okay, I'll show you. So let me go to the material master of this particular material. Okay, /n mm02, it go there. It will go to MRP2 view. It goes to plant 1000. See what is the procurement type maintained here? It is maintained as E, in-house production. It is already maintained as in-house production. That is why system is generating planned order. Okay, system is generating planned order. Okay, now if you maintain it as F, means external procurement, what system does is it will be generating the purchase requisition. Okay, so that's what system does. Some very rare scenarios you have both procurement types. Sometimes the same material, what it does is you sometimes produce in-house or sometimes you procured from outside. Both scenarios are there. That time system by default it will generate planned order. Okay, see I'll note it down here. If it is E, it will generate planned order. Okay, later on they convert these to production order. That we will see when we go to the further topics. Production order. Okay, now if it is F, MRP will generate purchase requisition. Okay, Now this purchase requisition is converted to purchase order. This will be taken care by the purchasing people. Purchase order. Okay. Now if it is X, both procurement types, it will be generating planned order. By default, it will generate planned order. Now whether to convert, now this planned order, whether to convert, first what they do is in case of external procurement, they convert to first purchase requisition and then to purchase order. That will be decided by the planners on that particular day. Okay. If it is X, system by default generate planned order. Now that day, if they are going to do external procurement, they do this activity. Or if it is a in-house production activity, then straight away they will convert this planned order to production. Okay, both options are there in case of X. Okay, so this is a very rare scenario. But most of the time, either you have this for this internal production for you have FG and your semi-finished goods, and this you will have it for your raw materials, raw or packing materials. Okay, so that's what it does. Okay, so it will check for here and accordingly it will create the planned order or purchase requisition. So now once these are steps done, the last step is BOM explosion. So now when you are doing the planning for finished product, what it does is first finished product planning is done. Then if it is this finished product is having BOM, what that does is it will go to the BOM components and these materials will get started planning. So system will plan these materials. Now once these materials are planned, if it is again these materials are having, it will go to their materials and it will plan those components also. So this planning is done till all levels are reached in a particular BOM structure. So this BOM gets repeated for all the components till all levels are reached. Okay, so that is what called MRP BOM explosion. Okay, so that's what it does. So it will go to the one which I explained. Last step is a BOM explosion. Once the materials are having BOM, again this entire cycle will get repeated. This entire cycle again will get repeated for those BOM items also. This cycle will get repeated. This cycle keep on getting repeated till MRP of all the levels are get completed. Okay, so that is what the BOM explosion. So basically it will go and check whether that particular material is having BOM or not, and if those metals are having BOM, then that particular product is having BOM, then it will plan all those BOM components also, and this MRP will continue till all levels are reached. That is what BOM explosion. Okay, so this is what BOM MRP in multi-level. So it has a requirement for finished product. You have the requirement. First finished product gets planned. Once the finished product gets planned, that time system will generate a dependent requirement for your semi-finished products. Then semi-finished product get planned. Okay, so then again while planning the semi-finished product, if raw materials are there, then those also will get planned. So it's a backward product planning kind of thing. Okay, so it's keep on planning all the levels one after the other, and when the finished product planning is done, it will determine when this assembly has to be ready. So here in this case, your product has to be ready by this time, then system will tell you your assembly has to be ready by this date. Now to make the assembly ready by this date, you have to start production of your semi-finished product on this date here. Now to start production on assembly on this date, then your raw materials have to be ready by on this date. So to make the raw materials ready, you have to start procurement somewhere over here. Okay, so this is what system does. Okay, so we only enter here requirement. That's all. We enter only requirement, and then when you do MRP, all these activities will be taking place. Okay, of course you have to set up your master data, everything properly in the system. Then only this will get executed properly. Okay, so that's what MRP. So now once the MRP is done, this I already explained. When you execute MRP, this is the final outputs. So in case of in-house production, this already I explained. It will be creating the planned order first. So in case of in-house production, they will convert this planned order to production order, and production will start. In case of in-house production. In case of external procurement, either you can generate directly purchase requisition, or you can directly generate schedule lines. Of course, this is all purchasing activity. We are not much bothered into it. Or sometimes in case of external procurement, you can create planned order also. That planned order can be converted to purchase requisition and then to purchase order. Or you can create directly purchase requisition. That is also possible. Okay, so these are the output elements of MRP run, results of the MRP run. Okay, you have both in-house production, you have both external procurement. Okay, for these are for finished, semi-finished products, and this is for externally procurement. It's like your raw materials, packing materials. Okay, so this is how the system will go. So in our case, if you see, it has generated a planned order. I think system might have got disconnected. Just let me connect again. Okay, so this is what MD 60 M60. Okay, 2096. What material we use? 2094. 2094. Okay. So now after the MRP run, planned order has come. They convert this planned order to production order, and then the production will start. That we will see anyhow when we go to production execution. So this is what the MRP. Okay. So now the question is, to run MRP. To run MRP, what settings? What are the prerequisites required in the MRP run? To run MRP, what prerequisites should have? So you need to make some settings at the plant level. You need to make some settings at plant level. So in the plant level, you activate MRP. First, for the particular plant, you activate MRP, and then you set up planning file entries. This will come anyhow automatically. This will come anyhow automatically. Set up planning file entries, and for the materials in the material master, you need to maintain MRP data. MRP views have to be maintained. You should have valid MRP type and valid MRP status. Okay, so these are the settings. You should have prerequisite settings you have to run MRP. Okay, so what I will do is I will go to escape. Okay, so I'll show it in the system. First, whenever new plant will come, you have to activate MRP for that. I'm going to the configuration. Go to production. Go to production. Go to MRP. Go to MRP. Go to planning file entry. Okay, here you are able to see activate MRP and set up planning file. Okay, if you go here, go to MRP. Go to MRP. So here you are able to see whenever the new plant will come, to run MRP, you have to activate MRP run. So for our plant 1000, which we are using all the time, it is activated. You are able to see it's already activated. If for any new plant you want to activate, suppose 1100, if I want to activate, you activate this checkbox and then you see it. First step, this you have to do. Okay, now the next one is planning file entries will come. That anyhow will come automatically when you do some transactions or you make some changes to the material. Now one more thing is, you should maintain MRP data for the material master in the material master data. So if you take any material, so you need to maintain these MRP views, these 4 views. If you want this material to be planned in the MRP run, these 4 views you need to maintain. You should maintain these views. MRP1, you should have valid MRP type. That's what you should have, valid MRP type. and valid MRP status. MRP status. Okay, this MRP types anyhow we're going to discuss in the next class. Okay, then you should have all this data maintained. MRP 3, MRP 4. So that material should be activated with these four views. Then only this material will get planned in the MRP run. Because when you execute MRP, system will read the data maintained in all these MRP 4 views. Okay, so that is what the prerequisites for running MRP. Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, now if you have any questions, now you can ask. Now if you have any questions, you can ask me.